Here we are, another episode of Selling Hobson by the Pound, and we've got a little bit of a varied group of things here. First thing on the list this week is, so here is an original copy of LDS 6164, right? This is the Carmen with Carrion and Vienna and Leontine Price and Robert Merrill. This is a very famous performance. And this is an original Soria edition with this beautiful cover that RCA sold, this crazy stuff back in the 60s, right? In the early 60s when this stuff came out. And so this is a beautiful performance. Records are in great shape. But somehow I ended up with the same set. Now it doesn't have the cover, the sleeve, but guess what these are? 1S single-sided test pressings sent out for approval. I say amazing sound and very quiet surfaces. So look at this. White label RCA promo. It says OK for tracking. And then the reverse side is blank. And it says, do not play this side. This is a silent groove to improve the molding of your test pressings. So it's really crazy that they did this back in the day at RCI. I never knew about it until, so I think these two sets, the Carmen and its single-sided test pressings, are going to be put up simultaneously. Now here's an interesting thing. This is a Misha Elman record, solo violin and piano recording. I put VG+, beautiful plays normal surface noise, does not distract from warm and lush sound, surface scuffs on both sides of the LP. This is LM 1740. Unfortunately, this somehow got into, before I got it, into the wrong jacket. So it does not have a jacket for it. But it's a rare record and one to take a look at. Here's one of those ALP 1147 through 9. This is from EMI, his master's voice. And I think I may have mentioned in an earlier one of these that I bought these overstocks from the original US distributor that had set in storage for 50 years. And then they were made available and I bought as many as I could, and this is one of them. I say original early 50s mono HMV recording pressed for RCA by EMI for release by RCA in the US. This set was procured from an original distributor in New York in the 1990s with other original pressings that have been stored for 40 plus years unplayed. The 200-gram original pressings, I mean, these things are just unbelievable, are visually perfect, but play with characteristic surface noise from the early 50s LPs from the UK. Remember, this was after World War II, but not very far after World War II. So LPs from the UK that does not distract from this great recording. So these are unplayed, but incredibly rare. Here is the mono of the Chadwick Symphonic Sketches, Suite for Orchestra, Howard Hanson conducting the East Rochester Symphony Orchestra. So I put, this is MG 5104, huge sound on this Mercury mono recording from January 1956. By the way, this was done in stereo and mono. They had a single mono mic and then they had the 3 stereo mics. The 3 stereo mics were used for the stereo recording, but this mono mic by the Mercury recording team led by C.R. Fine. The full track mono tape being fed by a single microphone captures all the beautiful sound from the Eastman Theater in Rochester, New York. The dynamics of this recording are nothing short of stunning, even without stereo. The stereo spread from concurrent stereo recording. Shocking sound quality, period. I wrote those notes in February of 2022. I put on here quiet surfaces. So, you know, one of the things to remember about mono recordings, everybody talks about stereo. Mono recordings have something that stereo recordings don't. They have a lack of phase interference, let's call it. So there's a solidity to mono recordings. When then you listen to stereo, it's like, okay, you get the stereo spread and you get some other information and so forth. But whenever you have a stereo recording and the playback of same, you're getting some effects across the two channels that cancel or accentuate. And so you get some, what we call phase interaction, right? But not with mono. So when you listen to these mono records, especially with a mono cartridge, it's like, whoa. It's like, you're there. It's pretty crazy. Adrian Bolt, The Hymn of Jesus, which is a Gustav Holst piece. This, I believe, is a London, London blueback. And very, very nice piece. Oh, here's incredibly rare, super rare, deluxe edition, Stravinsky Firebird and Petrushka with Stokowski. And it was a Capitol recording. And it's got this crazy inlay of like a side view of Stokowski, and this beautiful book inside. Oh my goodness, it's I can't even imagine how much it must have cost to have this thing. They can't have sold many. It's got to be incredibly rare. So there you go with that. Here are two more. I think the last week. We put up two of these George Enesco 10-inch records. And I put super rare 10-inch copy of Enesco conducting the Bucharest Philharmonic, performing his own compositions. Both record and original stitched jacket are in excellent condition. And this is, I put on electrocord, by the way, from Budapest, or Bucharest, actually. Insanely rare Romanian original pressing of George Enesco brilliantly playing violin on his own composition, accompanied by the famous pianist Dino Lupati. Pressing and original stitched 10-inch jacket are in excellent condition. Hard to imagine finding a better copy anywhere. These are insanely rare, like the two that were offered up last week. Direct disc recording. Gould conducts Gould. This is on that crystal clear label. And this is still sealed. I think this was from 1978, it turns out. That's the copyright. And Burt White of Everest fame was the live mix engineer. And this was that era where they recorded this December 24th and 29th, 1978 at Watford Town Hall, London, using an Ortophon extended range disc mastering system. So yeah, it was direct to disc and at a famous hall actually in London. Pretty darn cool. Willie Dixon, Hidden Charms, still sealed. This is probably from the 80s. It's on Capitol and Bug. But a beautiful record. Sealed copy of the Clifton Chenier Band. I had a couple of copies of this and I didn't need to keep them all. This is such a great recording and really, really a fun thing. Here we go back to some of my classic archive copies. Here's Sonny Rollins' A Night at the Vanguard, BN 1581. And this is number 2 of 5 from my own personal archive. Here is Donald Byrd, Bird in Flight, BN 4048. This is also 2 of 5. And pressed by Classic. This was pressed in our pressing plant before it got sold to Chad Kassem and became Quality Record Productions. Hank Mobley, BN 4058. This is also number 2 of 5. All these are sealed. BN 1538. This is Lee Morgan Indeed. Great record. Just keep in mind, all of these, here's BN 4034. This is also number 2 of 5. Leeway. All of these records were cut from the original 2-track Rudy Van Gelder tapes at Bernie Grundman Mastering on an all-tube mastering system. Doesn't get any better than this. Frankie, the voice. This is my archive copy number 2 of 5. And then Norah Jones, Come Away With Me. Here's an original classic 200-gram pressing. This is one of our best-selling albums ever, by the way. So beautiful, beautiful. Here got a couple of Who items. This is the Who by the Numbers, 200-gram pressing, all original. We got the tapes from Pete Townsend in the UK, sent these all over. So these were all mastered from the original 2-track masters. Here is the Who Live at Leeds. That's a 200-gram pressing. Very authentic. It has all the bits inside, poster and some stickers and so forth. We went crazy with it, and we replicated the original sleeve, which is more, it's kind of like a paper bag almost. So yeah, these are getting insanely rare. And then this is something you hardly ever see. This is number 2 of 4 from my archive. And this is the Heifetz box set, which includes all of the Heifetz records that we put out, all collected together in one set. So that's going to go for big money. So good luck. Thanks.